So today in this unique video, I'm gonna be a little more scientific than I usually am, and I'm gonna break this down basically into each level ever. Okay, so it's just about macros. This whole video is just about macros, and if you don't understand macros or calories or you're looking into diet, then this video is perfect for you. So highly recommend if you want to get into bodybuilding, you want to get into powerlifting, you need to understand these things, right? If you're just a casual lifter that's just lifting to lift weights, you don't really care about food, you don't really care about how it affects you, you don't really care about what the labels mean on the packaging, then don't watch this video. But if you do, this video is really perfect. I'm going to explain it very easily, very straightforward, and just make it as easy as possible for you. And just, yeah. And I'll try to explain what macros are, what the types of them are, just all the real complicated stuff that people usually don't just explain. So, I don't know, they're like carbs, fats, proteins, blah, blah, blah. They don't really explain what they do, why you need them, and that's what this video is going to give you. But, let's start out. Macros Explained by Ryan Go. Okay? Now, first of all, we got to start off, what are macros, right? Macros are short for macronutrients. It's not macros, even though everybody says it. I say it, everybody says it. Macronutrients is the proper term because they're nutrients for your body, right? And they all of them, these protein, carbs, and fats, which are the different type of macros, all contribute to your caloric intake, your calorie intake. So it could be your maintenance, it could be what you need to bulk, it could be what you need to cut. That's what the macros do. And it also determines your weight, right? Weight is very important, obviously, right? If you weigh a certain amount or you weigh a certain way, it's probably because your macros led you there and what you've been consuming, right? And it also determines your fat to muscle ratio. Your fat to muscle ratio is very important, especially for bodybuilding. And I think everyone would like to have more muscle and fat on them, right? Obviously, everyone wants a little bit of fat because fat isn't bad to have. But yeah, when someone goes in the cut, they're basically transferring this fat into muscle, or they're kind of getting rid of it and then turning it into muscle. So yeah, that's kind of the macros and the gist. But what are the three types of macros? Protein, carbs, and fats. Those are the only three types, right? Each of them contribute different things. So if you guys ever look at the packing label on anything, right? There's usually the calories, however many calories, like per serving of, like, let's say skim milk, right? It's 90 calories for a cup. At the top it says 90 calories. Why is it 90 calories? Well, it's about 8 grams of carbs and about 8 grams of protein. 8. What? Okay, why does that matter with the amount of calories? I'll tell you, okay? So protein, carbs, and fats all have their own amount of calories. For 1 gram of protein, which you'll see grams everywhere, it's about 4 calories. So I'm going to put that right there for you. 4 calories in 1 gram of protein. 4 calories in 1 gram of carbs. And 9 calories in 1 gram of fat, right? These all add up to whatever calories are on it. These are the only 3 types of calories, and they lead up to what you see on the package and what you see on the label, everything like that. And why milk is like that is 4 times 8 grams of protein. I think it's 1 cup of skim milk is about, why is my math bad? It's about 32 plus your carbs, which is going to be another 32 to 36. I think it's a little higher in carbs, but it's going to add up, and it's going to end up around calorie, like that calorie amount. There's percentages and all that stuff, but that's where it comes from. And your fat is just higher in calories. I think that's why they just call it fat, because it's basically 225% more calories per gram than protein and carbs. But now let's go into what each specific thing does, right? What does protein do? Protein is a big buzzword. Protein is everywhere, okay? It's protein this, protein that. I need my protein. Why is protein so important? Why do all bodybuilders or people in the gym talk about getting protein, right? It's I bet you guys all probably know this, but the amount of protein you're supposed to have is about 1 gram per pound of body weight. That's very, very important. And why that's important is because if you hit your daily protein intake, it can build and repair muscle, right? Everybody has that sweet spot, okay? And it helps preserve muscle. Like when you're trying to lose weight, when you're trying to cut. That's why if you go on a diet, it's important that you still maintain your protein. Because if you don't maintain your protein, you're losing muscle and fat, right? So then you're just gonna look like a noodle when you're done, rather than looking pretty lean, pretty big. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and it also provides energy if carbs or fats are low. Okay, so protein can be used as energy, even though it's not the most efficient energy source. That's why if you ever heard of a carnivore diet, it relies strictly on protein and fat for energy, rather than, it's mainly protein, but protein and fat for energy. That's why carnivore works well, because there's no carbs and you can't really eat a lot of protein and fat, at least not a lot. So that's why you lose a lot of weight doing that. And what it also does, last one, it supports enzymes and hormones, right? It's going to help you with your hormonal health, make sure everything's regulated through your body, all the different stuff, but mainly just muscles is kind of what it does. So that is protein. Now next, carbs. Carbs are just as important as protein. People don't talk about it as much because it's not a good buzzword, right? If you hear like how much protein should you eat in a day on a video rather than how much carbs should you eat in a day, it's just like protein just sounds more important, dude, because it's just a big word. But carbs are what get you from point A to point B, right? So carbs are energy. You can see you got a little lightning. I also put like bricks over here for protein, but I don't know, my drawing's not that crazy, so I don't even know if you get that. But carbs are energy. Little lightning bolt for energy, right? It's powering your workouts. That's why before workouts, you see a lot of people eating good food, like eating rice cakes, bread, like just things to get energy before you work out. And it also helps with brain health. So your brain function, making sure if you're feeling really sluggish, it's probably because your carbs are low. I actually recently just had a client. He was coming to me and I was looking at his check-ins because they check in every day. And he was feeling really sluggish. And I looked at everything was pretty good except his sleep. His sleep, he was sleeping 4 hours a night. That is nuts, okay? And I was like looking at his diet, looking at his macros, and I'm like, dude, I'm looking at what you've been eating. Your fat has been off the charts. You have no carbs. That's why you're feeling sluggish, man. That's why you can't go to sleep well. Your brain is not functioning well. Okay, so that's kind of what that is. If you guys ever feeling drained, check your carbs. And sluggish, I already put that there. I already explained that. But it also stores in muscle. Carbs store in your muscle. So for every gram of for every carb stored in your muscle, right? And for every gram of carb that is stored in your muscle is about 3 grams of water. So that's why when you go on these crazy carnivore diets, you lose so much weight so fast. And then it kind of slows down because you actually start losing fat because you're losing all that water that's in your muscles, right? And water in your muscles is just like blood flow, blood, all that stuff. So that's carbs for you. And fat, right? Fat is all about hormones and long-lasting, like long-lasting health in general, basically. So like it helps produce hormones, right? It's for long-lasting energy. That's the word. Okay. It's for hormones and long-lasting energy. Okay. Carbs is more quick feel. This is more long feel. Okay. But it helps with your hormones mainly, right? Your protein helps with that, but fats do most of the grunt work there. Helps with your testosterone, your your estrogen levels, all of that stuff is because of this guy and a little bit of protein, but mainly this guy. Okay. And it also helps with your organ and immune system, right? So if your immune system, you get sick very easily, your fat levels might be low, right? Your organ health is also very important too. So that's why your fat needs to be at a good level, all right? And it also helps dissolve vitamins, right? Goes into your immune system, goes through your stomach. Those are your organs. And also dissolving stuff. So making sure you have fiber in your diet, making sure you have all this different stuff to make sure, it's food's coming out just as good as it came in, you know what I'm saying? So, anyways, it also helps with your brain plus your mood. I notice when I'm losing weight and my fat's low, I'm a douche. I'm like mean, just because I just feel hangry. I feel more hangry when I don't have as much fat in my diet, and that's bad. So when I first started cutting, I had like zilch fat, and then I was like, why am I getting so mad all the time? And then I did more research, and sure enough, yeah. And also, before you go, I'm not done yet. I have examples for a protein, a carb, and a fat and what they are, right? Because if I just tell you like protein, carbs, and fats, you still don't know the food that has the most of it. So I'm going to show it to you right now, okay? So for start off with protein, I just got a can of StarkCast tuna, right? Protein is usually in your meats, so like your chicken, your beef, all of that different stuff, and your tuna, your fish, yada yada yada. That's where most of your protein comes from. And there's also a little bit of fat in some proteins, like 85% beef, that's 50% fat, all that stuff, right? And then the calories, you see 110 calories, if you guys can see that. And if you look closer, it's 26 grams of protein, if you guys hopefully can see that. And when you do 1 gram of fat, can't forget that. When you do 26 times 4, which is the calories, right, that's going to be about 104, right? And then with that 1 gram of fat, it's a little less than 1 gram because you can tell it's 110 for the total. So that's about 9 calories. It adds up to be about a little over 110 calories. So that's where the math comes in. You can kind of start seeing that on labels. But that's your protein, right? Next, we're going to go fats. Or not fats, carbs, right? This is bread. Bread is very high in carbs. That is what it's high in, I think. Yeah. I'm stupid. It's high in carbs, right? Which is what gives you energy. But I don't recommend this as the best source of energy. I recommend more rice cakes, bananas, because those are complex and they're more dissolvable in your stomach. Bread is very processed. It's not as good, but it's a quick example. Then there's sweet potatoes, potatoes. And then last but not least, I honestly think this one's one of the most important for me personally. Fats. I got a little cup of guacamole for you, right? I love guac. I dip my fries in it. I use it as my sauce on my cup because I don't try not to use too many sauces. And that stuff just works well, right? Avocados are good fats. Seeds, oils, they're all good sources of fat, but you can overdo it, so you got to be careful. But anyways, if you guys are looking into more explained stuff, I have a lot of videos on it, so there's plenty of free information on my channel. But if you have been looking into coaching or anything like that, thinking of doing a special offer here soon. So we'll see. But we're gonna do I have like a 12-week program that I could map out for you, showing you what to eat, why these macros are important, the different foods I could make for you, and to give you a good workout program to make sure that you're utilizing all of this. So if you're interested in that, feel free to DM me on Instagram. That's how I get into contact with people most times. Or TikTok or something. But yeah, send me a DM on there or whatever. Or you can check out the link below. I have a Gamma link, and you can just see my story. It brings you to a YouTube video too, so you can see about me. And you can see what the program is for and who it's not for. So feel free to check that out. But apart from that, that was Macros Explained by Ryan Goat. I hope you guys have a great day. And stay locked in, bro.